Jedimanda here to give you an Ahsoka makeup tutorial, finally! I mean, it's been like a year almost, actually almost a full year since I did the headpiece Ahsoka tutorial on my YouTube, and it has blown up. I have so many views and so many questions from you guys about more Ahsoka, please! Now this one that you guys clicked on is the water-based paint, no alcohol, no airbrush version of Ahsoka makeup. That's a huge, long headline. Ugh. But this one I will be using only water-based face paint makeup, as well as other like eyeshadow palettes and stuff you can kind of get anywhere else. This is definitely an easier and cheaper version than a airbrush all day wear alcohol-based paint. I do recommend this for beginners, those who are trying out face paint for the first time, especially doing a whole body paint for a con. Try water-based paints first, which is all I'm going to show you. This stuff is very reasonable in price. You can get it all online. I promise, it's super, super easy. The only thing about this is that it is water-based, so if you sweat, if you get caught in a rainstorm, or if you just get wet of any kind, it will come off. So I don't necessarily recommend a water-based makeup for a full con day. You can do it on your face and do other makeups on your body to make it stay more, because the rest of your body will sweat more than your face. So a lot of people do this combination of water-based paint and PAX paint, which I'll have a link below if you guys are interested in learning more about that, for the body, and it works out great. So no airbrush involved, it's all about just painting on and just going with it. So if you're interested in learning more about the water-based paint Ahsoka tutorial, stay tuned and continue on watching, and I'll show you exactly how I did it step by step. Super easy. And thanks, you guys. If you have any questions, comment below. Here we go.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is actually, in my opinion, the hardest part of this entire Ahsoka makeup. It's actually covering my eyebrows. Now, I'm going to show you here in a second an awesome product that I bought off artawigs.com. It's called Kryolan Eyebrow Plastic. It's in that little tube right there, and it's about $9 a tube, and basically what it is moldable plastic that you can put into your eyebrows. I know that sounds extremely intense, but it works like a charm. A lot of drag queens and people, a lot of men and people with dark eyebrows use this to completely cover up their eyebrows, because it's very hard to do with any other method. So honestly, what you do is that you take a little bit, roll it between your fingers, and just basically smush it into your eyebrow exactly like I'm doing, and just push it along. What it does is that it lays your eyebrow down kind of like glue, but it also kind of covers up and mutes the color of your eyebrow. So if you have very dark eyebrows, I highly suggest this method. And before you're thinking, oh my gosh, does this even come off of my eyebrows? Am I going to lose my eyebrow hair? I promise it 100% comes off. You actually remove it with a makeup wipe. I found is the absolute easiest. This step is actually extremely important. What I'm doing right now is that I am layering on colorless powder. You can buy that with any big name special effects makeup company like Ben Nye or Mehron, and I'm basically applying it to relieve the tackiness of the eyebrow plastic so I can apply foundation and cover up and concealer. I do several layers of this, usually about 3, before I start adding in my concealer, which you'll see me here do next. Now, once you have a couple layers of that powder on, go ahead and take your cover up and just basically dot over your eyebrows. This really does help, even though it doesn't kind of look like it. Once you add up all of the makeup on your face, it really does help. So go ahead and layer your first layer of concealer on, and then I take the same powder over that concealer and do another layer of concealer, so my eyebrows are basically gone. Feel free to search YouTube and the internet for other methods of covering your eyebrows. You don't necessarily have to do this one if you do not want to. Next step, I'm going to be outlining the white marks of her face now with a white eyeliner pencil that I bought from NYX. Do not forget to use your reference materials, whether you're doing the Star Wars Rebels or the Clone Wars Ahsoka. Now, I stress this is a very important thing to do first, because you do not want to layer the white over top of the orange makeup as kind of like an in thing to do. Marking out the white first ensures you to have a very stark white marks on your face with the orange that you will be applying later. So I highly suggest you do this method first. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of pain. already have the white marks outlined, let's go ahead and fill them in. I'm using Ben Nye's MagiCake Aqua Paint for this. You can also use Mehron's Aqua Base, which I believe is called Paradise. It's the palette that I have to use for her orange makeup. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this in before I do the orange makeup. And I'm using just a very easy paintbrush, makeup paintbrush that I got on Amazon. All this stuff is very, very easy to find online. I promise you I'll have all the links below to everything you possibly need. Alright everybody, now it's time for the orange face paint. I am using the Mehron Paradise palette, or the Paradise paint itself in its little old standalone palette. This one I just bought off Amazon for about $30, this whole palette. It's really awesome to have. And this is just the standard orange. Now, when I put it on my facial skin tone, it does tend to be a little darker than you see here in the video. The lights kind of blew it a little brighter than I wanted it to happen, but it really does work for my facial structure and my skin tone. If you find this to be not the right color, feel free mixing it with some of the brown or some of the red or even some of the white when you apply it. It really does work, but make sure when you are applying the orange to go really close to the edges of your white marks and try not to blend them too, because it's going to become a little convoluted and it will kind of run a little bit. But this is a great way to do it, so go ahead and get your big cat's tail eyeshadow brush and just go to town. Taking the brown color in the Mehron basic palette and just going over my lips, lining them first, and then applying it just like that. Now it is water-based paint, so it will come off if you get water on it, but I find that it actually stays on quite well. Now this next bit is totally optional, but I actually kind of like it. It gives a little bit of contrast at that top part of the eye. I take a really fine tipped paintbrush and the brown and just kind of outline the upper corner of my eye to where it kind of gives a little bit of a dimension besides it being just too flat. Next up, I'm going to be putting in her eyeshadow. I'm using the Tarte palette, the brown in that. You can use any brown eyeshadow for this, but I will be doing her eyeshadow starting from the inner to the outer line, basically just covering my whole lid in brown eyeshadow. You can go a really smoky look with this and kind of give her a little bit of a glamorous look, but I do kind of a basic one with some eyeliner also too. But you definitely want to add in that eyeshadow because it gives her way more dimension than just a very flat orange and white face. Next, I'm going to be doing some contour. This is also optional. You do not have to do it, but I tend to do it a little bit. You don't want to go too heavy on this because it gets into the white and it looks really fake. So I just kind of blotted on those contour spots on my face to give myself a little more dimension. And she does have a different face shape than a normal human face. And so I'm going under my chin line with the contour makeup to give a little more rigid line to my chin besides just leaving it with a flat orange. Now this next step is actually pretty crucial if you want to look more like Ahsoka, because she has a very thin, long nose. So I take the contour brown eyeshadow to the outer edges of my nose and just kind of blend it in. Don't go too heavy or then it's going to look dirty, but you definitely want to do that if you want to get her face shape a little more, because she does have a pretty long, narrow nose with a bit of it at the end kind of swooped up. Then I'm just taking some contour up into my hairline to make my face a little bit smaller. And then we're kind of rounding home base here, ladies and gentlemen. Next, I'm going to be taking some highlight and just kind of hitting the top portions of my cheekbones to give that kind of cutesy Ahsoka look. It's totally optional, you don't have to do that, but I like to do it just because makeup's fun, right? Take a little bit of that, put it on the tip of my nose to give it a little more dimension and shadow to make my nose stand out a little bit more for Ahsoka. Last thing you're going to do is go ahead and load up them lashes with some mascara. You can also use falsies too. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you're gonna have Ahsoka. She's completed. This is the entire Ahsoka makeup look that I do with water-based paint. Super simple, super easy. I promise you can achieve the best looking Ahsoka face paint with these products. If you would like to use an alcohol-based paint, I would be doing a tutorial on that eventually in the future, so stay tuned for that. I hope this tutorial really helped you guys out, and if you have any questions, please comment below. I will definitely help you guys out, and thank you so much for watching this. See ya!